So now I'm excited to introduce our host, Dr. Kelly Chu, who is a professor and interim program chair in the Public Relations and Advertising program at the College of Communication. Her research interests include social media, electronic word of mouth, cross-cultural consumer behavior, and corporate social responsibility. Her work has been published in Journal of Advertising, International Journal of Advertising, and Journal of Interactive Advertising, among others. Kelly and her colleagues have also edited a book, Electronic Word of Mouth as a Promotional Technique, New Insights from Social Media. She is the president of the American Academy of Advertising. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Kelly Chu.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Chu, and thank you so much for joining us today. And I know the weather is beautiful outside or wherever you are, but I'm looking forward to have this conversation with you. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and thanks for the introduction, Hello. So today I would like to talk about consumer engagement in social media in the Asian community. So this is my name, and I'm a professor and also program chair of PR and the advertising program in the College of Communication at the DePaul University. And this is my 13th year at the DePaul. Okay. So just a little bit background about me. So I was born in Taiwan, and I went to National Chengchi University to get my BA degree in advertising. And then I went to UT Austin to get my MA and the PhD in advertising as well. So I never changed my major, and I'm teaching advertising now. And this is my research interest. So I mainly look at the social media, electronic word of mouth, and also cross-cultural consumer behavior. And I especially compare social media usage between the US and China, and also in other cultures. And recently, I'm interested in corporate social responsibility and also brand activism research. Okay, and this is my program. So I'm in PR and advertising program, and we recently just won the PR Week Outstanding Education Program Award. So if you are around, if you are in Chicago, if you are around the Loop campus, so you are welcome to stop by our office building. Okay. So before I start my presentation, I wanted to talk a little bit about APIDA, APIDA. So there are several different terms when we think about Asian Americans or like Asian people. And APIDA is a broad definition, a broad term. So there's a great diversity of identities and ethnicities under this APIDA. So including East Asian, South Asian, Southeast Asian, and the Pacific Islander. So for example, I'm from Taiwan, and I consider myself as an Asian American. The list term, APIDA, includes all people of Asian American, and the Pacific Islander ancestry. Okay. So I think it's helpful for us to understand what APIDA means. Okay, and a little bit statistic about like Asian APIDA population in the U.S. So there are more than 20 million people who identify as Asian or Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander alone, and then this makes up about 6.2% of the nation's population. Okay, and then you can see the breakdown in this table. Okay, so the top one is Chinese, except Taiwanese, and then followed by Asian Indian, Filipino. Okay, and today I would like to focus my discussion on electronic word of mouth on WeChat. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are using WeChat. Looks like you cannot type here, but WeChat is kind of similar to WhatsApp in the US or Europe, and it's an app that allows people to communicate and to socialize. And I would like to share a study I conducted a couple years ago. So the title is Examining the Influence of Sense of Belonging need for self-enhancement and the consumer engagement on Chinese travelers' electronic word of mouth. So my study focused on electronic word of mouth behavior on WeChat, and I especially focus on Chinese travelers, and I look at the travel tourism industry. So when we think about social media and the electronic word of mouth, so basically social media is a platform for sharing information, and I consider information sharing as a form of electronic word of mouth. Okay, and so word of mouth is not a new term. So it was original from interpersonal communication. So basically it was about like peer recommendation. So like when your friends or family members tell you something about a brand or a new restaurant, you are more likely to trust the information provided by them. And then when this type of information or communication happen online or in electronic platforms, we name it electronic word of mouth. And electronic word of mouth, or E1, has been a research area since like early 2020. And in my study, I specifically focus on WeChat. So WeChat is basically a lifestyle. So if you ever travel to China or other Asian country, it's kind of impossible to live there without WeChat. Because WeChat not only allow you to communicate with your friends or contacts and family, you can also use WeChat to pay your bill, to get a taxi or to make a reservation for a restaurant. And you can do a lot on WeChat, for example, on WhatsApp or on other social platforms like Line or Facebook, Twitter. Okay, so WeChat is the dominant mobile social media application. So now there are more than 1.3 billion users worldwide. I think this number is very impressive. So you can send out free instant message via use a smartphone, and this can help us to share information and also share text, pictures, or videos. And like I mentioned, you can also do online shopping, pay bills, or even hospital appointments on WeChat. And what's special on WeChat is there is a friends circle. And the friends circle is kind of similar to news feeds on Facebook. But in WeChat, we call it friends circle because basically all of the contacts on WeChat are your friends. Okay. And this friend circle allow users to easily share their personal activities, such as travel experience, and then engage in electronic word of mouth. So travel is huge before the pandemic in China, and lots of people spend their money and the time travel around the world, and people like to share pictures on social media and especially on WeChat. And then this can be considered as a form of electronic word of mouth, where you share information about your activities, or you sometimes mention a brand or travel destination. Okay. And Chinese consumers' decision making tends to be influenced by products or service mentioned by a friend or relatives on the social media site. So because Chinese culture focuses on collectivism, and the social circle and also social norms are very important. So lots of cross-cultural research has shown that Chinese consumers' purchase decisions are more likely to be influenced by their friends and families compared to consumers in Western cultures. Yeah. And then here are some examples of WeChat friend circles posts. For example, a friend of mine, he shared his travel in Hong Kong, and then he basically shared lots of like tourist spots and the food. Yeah, I would say trans people or Asian people, lots of Asian people, they like to take photos of food or like everything to share with their friends. And it's a way to document your activity and your travel. Okay. And so lots of electronic word of mouth, all this type of information sharing, your friends' actual behavior. So including their intention to to pick a travel destination. So for example, when you see your friend, okay, went to Hong Kong and then you see lots of exciting and fun things he was doing there, and then this will have an influence on your decision for your next travel destination, okay? And I will save some time for Q&A after my presentation, but you guys are feel free to type your questions or save your question in chat or in your own notes, okay? And a little bit background information about travel industry in China. So like I mentioned before the pandemic, mainland China had the largest outbound travel market in the world. So both in number of trips and also total spend. And lots of tourist destinations have begun to leverage social media. So like WeChat, Twitter, or Facebook, or Chinese version of Facebook, like Renren or some other platforms show video to maximize exposure. So for example, in China, tourists in Australia just launched a video campaign with a kangaroo character on TikTok. And then the overall views soon reach around more than 1 billion. So I think this number is very impressive. So that's why lots of global marketers, they are very interested in learning more about Chinese social media and also Chinese people's social media behavior, because it's a great way to reach their target audience and also to engage with their potential consumers. And this is just an example of a popular destination for Chinese travelers. And because so many people are sharing pictures on WeChat, so I heard my friends' parents, they say, oh, because they see their friends like had fun in Great Skyline, so they were also planning a trip there. So you can think about the power of electronic word of mouth on WeChat has been huge. Okay. So for my study, so the purpose of my study was to understand what motivates, what influences electronic word of mouth among young Chinese travelers on WeChat, and also to explore the role of consumer engagement in electronic word of mouth intention. And I use social identity theory, consumer engagement framework, and also electronic word of mouth to develop a conceptual framework for my study. Okay, so basically, yeah, electronic word of mouth include any positive or negative statement made by potential, actual, or former customers about a product or company, and which is made available to a lot of people and the institution via the internet. And then now it's not only shared via the internet, it can be shared on mobile phone or other new device, okay? And the previous research has shown that electronic word of mouth has influence on purchase decision or online choice and even on sales. So that's a tool for marketers to develop their communication plan. And for consumer engagement with WeChat, so I define consumer engagement with WeChat as a degree of vigor, dedication, and absorption, and it represents a psychological state that drives behavioral consumer engagement. So for example, when you like or post or share information on WeChat, so you are basically engaged, this is actually a form of consumer engagement, okay? And the consumer engagement has been an important construct to study in social media. And the researchers has also looked at the consumer engagement's relationship with electronic word of mouth. So basically, my assumption is that when you engage on WeChat more, when you engage with social friends circle on WeChat more, you are more likely to engage in electronic word of mouth communication behavior. Okay. And for social identity theory, and this is a popular theory that has been frequently used to study, for example, racial group or cultural group. And then this is used to explain how, for example, young Chinese WeChat users construct their social identity and experience a sense of belonging to their friends circles. So basically, when you belong to a specific social circle, you are more likely to be influenced by those people's behavior, and then you are more likely to combine to follow like social norms in that particular group. So basically, social identity theory also refers to an individual's knowledge that he belongs to certain social circle, together with some emotional and value significance to him of this group membership. So group membership is very important among Asian community. And this is also especially true for Chinese young consumers. Okay. And in this study, I applied two important constructs. And then these two constructs are more like personality concepts. So the first one is sense of belonging, and the second one is self-enhancement. So sense of belonging is identified as a user's feeling of cohesion or attachment to a group or a community. So we all know sense of belonging is a very important psychological concept that help us to decide which group we belong to, and then that will also influence our behavior. And for WeChat users, so a user's self-concept overlaps with traits of identification with the group, and that does enhance their sense of belonging. And then this will in turn influence their WeChat engagement. So basically, when you identify yourself to a particular group on WeChat, you are more likely to develop a sense of belonging, and this sense of belonging will influence your WeChat engagement, which means you are more likely to engage word of mouth on WeChat by liking or posting information, content on WeChat. Okay. And the second personality trait, okay, I mentioned is need for self-enhancement. So this construct, need for self-enhancement refers to an individual's desire to foster the self-concept and achieve a favorable self-image. So if you are active social media users, you will probably notice that people tend to share favorable content on social media or on Facebook. So people are really to share like some negative information about themselves on Facebook or Twitter or WeChat, because we all have a need for self-enhancement. So by sharing content on social media or by sharing your travel photos on social media, so it's likely that people think, okay, you are an expert in travel, and the people are more likely to perceive you as an like a favorable person in their social circle. So I found this concept is very interesting, and it's an individual characteristic factor that will impact young Chinese consumers' engagement. Okay, and here are some examples of Chinese WeChat users' pictures on WeChat. So like when they travel around, for example, when they are in Europe or in other countries, so some people, they will share like what they purchase, what they buy, okay, during their trip, or like they like to show like some beautiful tourist spots to share with their friends and to tell them, oh, okay, you are really enjoying your trips. Mm-hmm. Oh, and this is just me and my family. So this is on the right is my sister, and this is my son, okay, and also my sister-in-law. So we also do the same thing. So when we travel to Cancun, Mexico, we also took lots of photos, and we shared on social media. And I think this has become a popular activity for many social media users, and especially among Chinese travelers. Okay, and like I mentioned, so my study looked at the relationship between consumer engagement and the electronic word of mouth. With WeChat is categorized by a degree of vigor, dedication, and absorption toward WeChat. So an engaged Chinese consumers that maintains a high level of involvement and the social interaction will likely actively generate or use travel-related electronic word of mouth. So basically, this means if you use WeChat more, you are more likely to share travel-related information, word of mouth on WeChat, and especially on your friends circle. And here is the proposed model of my study. So you can see like 2 personality traits are sense of belonging, need for self-enhancement. And I propose that these 2 personality traits will lead to consumer engagement, including vigor, absorption, and dedication of WeChat. And then this consumer engagement subconstruct will lead to WeChat users' electronic word of mouth intention. Okay. And I developed 5 hypotheses based on my research model. Okay. And I will skip this part. So for my research, we conduct an online survey and use a popular online consumer panel called SoulJump in China. And the SoulJump is probably one of the largest consumer panel in China. They have more than 1 billion members there. So we send out an online survey to those members, and the people will get incentives by participating in the survey. And here is a brief here's the results of my study. So basically, I found the effects of sense of belonging on vigor, absorption, and dedication. But these are not statistically significant. So I didn't find the relationships between the effect of sense of belonging on consumer engagement. And then these results are a little bit surprising, but I will explain this later on. However, we found need for self-enhancement is a powerful predictor of vigor, absorption, and the dedication of consumer engagement. So our second hypothesis are supported. And the impact of dedication on electronic word of mouth is also significant. Okay. And we also found dedication mediates the influence of need for self-enhancement on electronic word of mouth intention. Okay. And here are some discussions and the takeaways from this study. So like I mentioned, Chinese culture focuses on collectivism. And this type of social circle on WeChat provides Chinese travelers opportunities for self-enhancement, which increase their engagement with social media application of WeChat. And also, previous research has have also suggested that Chinese social media usage is linked to traditional values of Chinese society that focus on group membership and a sense of belonging. So, which means people use social media to get a sense of belonging, especially among Chinese WeChat users. But at the same time, also values are modernized, because in our study we actually didn't find sense of belonging will have an impact on consumer engagement, and which will lead to electronic word of mouth. So one possible explanation is that for young consumers who use WeChat, so they use WeChat not because they want a sense of belonging, but they want a platform to share their lifestyle, and in order to increase their self-enhancement. And this is kind of a different from traditional Chinese values, like to be modest, to be humble, and then not to show off about what you are doing. So our result demonstrates a changing cultural value of today's Chinese society. And here are some implications of our study. So for companies, it's very important to identify travelers who are most dedicated to WeChat, and then design advertising campaigns to maintain their interest in WeChat. So we can think about, for example, using social media influencers can be an effective tool to reach Chinese consumers. Okay. And we can use some big data or some or artificial intelligence tools to identify these travelers. So we can look at the number of their followers or their social media activities. And also, companies should incorporate the need for self-enhancement into their advertising message strategies. So because our study found that self-enhancement is an important construct that lead to social media engagement and also electronic word of mouth behavior. So advertisers, they can incorporate this concept into their message strategies. For example, they can develop an advertising campaign saying like, be an expert in travel, or show your friends how to have fun in certain place. And then this may trigger travelers' need for self-enhancement. And this concludes my study on consumer engagement in social media in WeChat. And I also would like to share this interesting study conducted by the Pew Research Center. So basically, it says about what it means to be Asian in America. So like I said, PITA include not only Asian, but also Asian America. And in this new research, they talk about the life experience of Asian American and also like all types of the media usage behavior and also consumption behavior among Asian American. And I think in today's society, it's very important for us to pay attention to what Asian consumers think, and also to help them stand up and also speak up, because it's a very important consumer group, but it's also an understudied cultural group. Workshop will be focused on Asian American consumers and also Asian consumers in general. Okay, I have my email address here, so feel free to, I can send this presentation slides to you, and if anyone has any follow-up question, they can email me and I will be happy to connect with them.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kelly Chu. This was very informative. I learned a lot.
Oh, good.
I really enjoyed the presentation. We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us today and leading this webinar. Again, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. This webinar was recorded, so this will be up on our website. And again, you have Dr. Kelly Chu's information here. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great evening.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much.